Well, welcome into the Harness Half Hour, proudly brought to you by HRNZ Marketing. Our guests today are Blair Orange, Hamish Scott, Arna Donnelly, Jennings of NZB, Kevin McNaught of Southern Harness and bookmaker Richard Wilson. In today's headlines, Blair Orange breaks the season record. He of course drove 4 winners at Addington on Friday night and one further at Rangiora on Sunday to take his season tally to 231 wins, surpassing Dexter's previous record of 229. We'll chat to Blair very soon. A superb drive by Dexter Dunn saw the Tim Butt train let it ride when the Group 1 Blacksa Fake at Albion Park on Saturday night. Despite being bedridden with a stomach bug the day before, Dunn made the trip across the Tasman and a genius drive saw the duo deliver. Mikey Maguire was the winner of the Rangiora Winter Cup on Sunday for trainer and co-winner Fred Fletcher and driver Colin De Philippi. It was the 4-year-old's 4th career win from 23 starts. Well, the man of the moment in harness racing circles is Blair Orange. Blair, what a season it's been, and 231 wins now for this season. Do you feel relief, overwhelmingly?
Yeah, in a way, Jess, I guess. As I always said, that to break the record of number of wins in the season that Dex had was never on the agenda. It was, just to try and win the Drivers' Premiership was always goal number one. And yeah, as we got closer to Dex's record, it did become an ambition, and to get there was very satisfying. So
4 wins on Friday night at Addington. Did you enter Friday ever believing that could be possible?
No, not at all, Jess. I knew I had a couple of each-way chances on that night, but I thought if I could walk away with 1 win, I'd be doing well. And to get the 4 was something I didn't think would happen on that night.
And looking forward now, Blair, we're winding down our season. Have you got any holidays or trips away planned? Because I'd imagine that this season would be a bit of a test, not only for you, but for the family. They wouldn't have seen much of you.
No. As I always joke with my wife Lisa, that I spent more time with Dex than I did her for the year. But I'm actually heading away to America. My sponsor George Calvert's taking myself and my good mate Greg O'Connor over to Las Vegas for a boxing fight in September, which will be great.
Oh wow! Well, that'll be an experience, I'd imagine. Have you been there before?
I have, Jess. Yeah. So I know what I'm getting myself into.
Good man. And of course, in winning the premiership this season, you'll now represent New Zealand. Has that sunk in yet that you'll be in Sweden, wearing the silver fern?
No, not as yet, really, Jess. We knew a few months back that that when the announcement was made, whoever won the premiership was being given that opportunity. So it's something that I really look forward to, and it hasn't sunken in as yet, but. It's something that certainly will.
Blair, a remarkable stat this year is that you've had 45 wins this season at Manawatu alone. What on earth did go through your mind every time you jumped on a plane to head up there?
Yeah, look, I think Mickey done a really good job this season taking the teams he did to Manawatu, and he worked them out really well, and it was just taking the right horses and being able to drive them positive. You knew that the rewards were there and they were very fit and ready to go. So I owe a lot to Michael for entrusting me to come up and drive those horses, because as you said, 45 wins, or probably a good 40 of them were Michael's, and without them I'd still be in arrears of Dexter.
Oh, absolutely, and great to see that support for you throughout the season, Blair. And did you get sick of the travelling? That must have really worn you down.
Well, actually, not too bad, Jess, to be fair. I can sleep anywhere, so on a plane, a car, anywhere, I can get some time in. But, a few good books you read here and there. But, no, I always enjoyed the travelling, and it didn't really get me down too much, to be fair.
Oh, well, that's fantastic, Blair. It's a wonderful achievement to not only win the premiership, but to set such a huge target for anyone else that wants to chase it down in future seasons. Is there anything left that you want to achieve in your career now that you've ticked this one off the list?
Oh, for sure. There's still plenty more, you'd like to achieve. Obviously, the pinnacle's a New Zealand Cup, which every driver, trainer, owner strives to win, and there's still a lot of good races I haven't won as yet, and obviously Australia, you'd like to win some of their major races, but there's still plenty more I'd like to do in my career, that's for sure.
Well, Blair, congratulations, a remarkable achievement, well done.
Yeah, thanks, Jess, and just thanks to everyone who's helped me along for the season, from the bigger trainers to the one-man band trainers, without all their support and the owners, you're not capable of anything. So, just thanks to everyone out there and the stable hands alike who's played a part.
Well, at this stage of the show, we check out what is making news on social media around the world. Starting off with New Zealand, of course, Blair Orange features on our social media with his new record season, downing Dexter's previous record of 229 wins. Shannon Armour also features after training her first winner at Forbury with Ivana Legacy. And congratulations to the winner of our Addington Pantry competition. Our winner is Katrina Bukowski. Congratulations, you've won a $100 voucher to use with Addington Pantry online catering, thanks to Addington Raceway. Check out their great catering options at addington.co.nz. From Australia, Dexter Dunn's superb drive in the Blacks Are Fake behind Let It Ride dominates the social media in that side of the world. And from the USA and Canada, Lazarus has his first public workout at the Meadowlands. He was private schooling and his workout timed the mile in 1:51 flat. To view the exclusive video of this workout, go to the HRNZ Facebook page, or you can follow Dave Brower on Twitter. Well, it's a huge welcome onto the harness half hour. Co-breeder and owner of Queensland Oaks winner Sociable, Hamish Scott. Hamish, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. It was a great thrill, really.
Now, tell us more about Sociable. Obviously, we're aware of your affinity or connection to the great Kiwi ingenuity in the past, but how on earth did this association come about with Andrew Stewart and this filly?
Well, I've always had a sort of an interest in a horse with Andrew for a number of years. So Sociable sort of came around because we used to race a mare together called Socializer, and it was raced by myself and Kim and Andrew and Becky, and also Lisa, John and Sandra Halson. So Lisa works for me. So we raced this filly, and she won a race, I think, at Westport, I think. So we had this mare lurking around, and we'd bred a couple of horses from her, and they've actually ended up being quite good. We sold them, gone to Australia. One's called Real Social, and the other one's called My Entourage. But we made a decision, or actually it was Lisa that made the decision to breed to buy Kiwi Made, because I had it lurking around in the back paddock, or actually at YF Farm, with the intention of giving him a stud career at some stage. So it was her decision to go there because it was available, and see what happened, and this is the result.
Well, Hamish, this is another aspect of the story that is so remarkable. What is he? He's got 4 foals on the ground at the moment. Now, Sociable was the first and only filly of that crop, and to go on and do what she's done already at Queensland Oaks, Redcliffe Oaks, 11 starts, 5 wins, 4 placings. Have you got people knocking down your door now?
Well, there has been some inquiries. It's been a kind of an interesting story because, I mean, that was the only mare that by Kiwi Made served that year was Socializer, and because I thought, well, I'll just see what it turns out like first, because I mean, people probably, if I made it public knowledge what I was doing at the time, people would have thought you're just crazy. Well, they're probably right, but we thought we'd give it a go anyway. So so that was the net result. And I guess when it actually happened, you always say that no matter what game you're in, if you're in the racing game, you end up with a foal the day it's born. You hope it's a champion, but something normally happens every day thereafter to prove that it's not going to be a champion. So the same thing applied when this foal arrived on the ground. There's nothing wrong with it. It was a nice looking foal, and everybody liked it the whole way through. So you always kind of hope that it would turn out all right. But it'd be fair to say the way it has worked out was probably certainly exceeded expectations.
The breeding of By Kiwi Made, Hamish, obviously gave this guy every chance at stud. And can you tell us why he was unraced? I understand there was a bit of drama around him. Yes.
What actually happened is that I think, he had an accident getting off a float, and he ended up sort of landing on his head, and he sort of got up and sort of ran round, and and I thought, well, he looks all right. But then, as sort of the days and the weeks went on, he started slowing down and starting to drag his back feet. So we got Hamish Rankin in from Canterbury Equine, the vet, and he looked at it and thought, oh, this isn't good. And then I think they worked out that its spinal cord had basically been trapped in its vertebrae.
Oh my goodness!
So it was effectively becoming a paraplegic. He was just starting to drag his feet, and things weren't looking that good. So we did something completely, utterly ridiculous, and thought, righto, we'll give this horse every opportunity, because at the time, Kiwi Ingenuity have been going pretty good. So, and the family has gone pretty well for us, and it doesn't owe us a cent, that family. So there's other breeds that we've got that probably owe us a fortune, but certainly not that part of the family. So we thought, right, I'd always wanted to have try a stallion at some stage, and I'd always thought that, because I'm probably more passionate about that family, but I always thought that it would stack up one day, because it's got a lot of good horses out of it. So I thought, right, well, this is going to be the horse I'll have a crack at as a sire, because it's a half brother to Kiwi Ingenuity, and also it's a full brother to a mare called Kiwi's Can Fly that Robbie Holmes always believed potentially was the better horse, to the point actually where we had sort of a gentleman's bet that I said Kiwi Ingenuity would end up better, and he said that Kiwi's Can Fly would end up better, but she went amiss early on, but she still did quite a good record when she retired. So I thought, right, well, this is a full brother, we'll give it a go. It turns out that we couldn't operate it on here in Christchurch, because nobody had the ability to do it, or probably the ability, but nobody had the skills or had done it before. Massey University weren't able to do anything, but Hamish Rankin said that he was trained in Melbourne by a fellow called Dr. Alistair McLean, who was apparently the only person in this part of the world that does what's called basket surgery. And effectively, that's where they separate the sort of the vertebrae with these metal plates. So we thought, righto, we'll give that a go. We then brought Alistair McLean over with his gear and his equipment, and they performed the surgery at Canterbury Equine, and he said at the time that it was going to take quite some time to come right, and even if he did come right, because it took sort of like a millimetre a day before the nerves and everything started coming right. So yeah, but yes, probably a year later he was sort of running around the paddock, pretty much like a normal racehorse.
So I guess, Hamish, the results that you've had already with Sociable would make this even more rewarding for you guys?
Well, very much so, yes. In fact, because I also sort of a little bit superstitious, or probably Kim would probably think I'm quite superstitious, it turned out that when Alistair McLean came over, and when I was talking to him about the operation, it turns out that he went to school in Winton, as I did, albeit there's probably about 30 odd years between us, and it turns out that he also used to sit beside the same class as one of my clients who's a thoroughbred breeder from down south. So I thought, well, that's a connection. And then it also turned out that his brother was a surgeon, and of course it turns out that was the very first person that Kim worked for when she left med school.
Wow.
So I thought, well, hang on, maybe everything's starting to align. So I thought at the time that, maybe there's going to be a story in this, and it transpired that there was.
Well, the most remarkable story too, Hamish, and the vet that operated on By Kiwi Made, I understand, hunted down Sociable and has been following her.
Yes, yeah. When we were over in Melbourne at John and Marie Caldo's for the Victorian Oaks, I said to John at the time, I said, I'd love to try and track down the surgeon, Alistair McLean, who did the surgery, to see, just to tell him, what's actually ended up happening. And he said, well, you're too late. He was here yesterday. He's actually kept an eye on the horse, and came around and visited himself, and said, he had a role to play in this horse actually even being here. So yeah, well, that was kind of nice.
Well, it's a remarkable story behind Sociable alone and with By Kiwi Made. Hamish, the horse is at Y Air, is that correct?
It is, yes. Yes, he is there.
And if anyone's keen to put their mare to him, are you open to inquiries?
Yes, yeah. Well, that's one of the things. People are sort of pestering me that I've actually got to try and tidy things up. So that's on my agenda to do in the next week or so. Because there certainly has been some inquiries about him, and I think A. Stewart's also had some inquiries also. So yeah, we'll look at doing something. And irrespective of that, I think we're going to send a couple of mares, and I think Andrew and Becky are sending a couple of mares. So yeah, he'll get a few anyway.
And it must be nice to share that success, as you mentioned, with Lisa and Kim and Andrew and Bex as well, given the long history you have.
Yes, very much so, and it's a great group because I mean, as you know, Andrew's a great. Well, in fact, the horse is of course named after him. Socialiser, sociable, real social. Because I mean, at the end of the day, A. Stewart, he's a reasonably social fellow. In fact, he probably makes the Kardashians look like stay-at-home mums, really. But he goes that good. But so it's been lots of fun along the way, and of course with Lisa and John and Sandra Howson along as well. You wouldn't meet too many nicer people than them, so it's a great thrill for us to be involved with them and racing a nice horse as well.
It would be remiss of me, Hamish, not to ask after Kiwi Ingenuity, and as you mentioned, her progeny have been doing very well at the track. How is she, and is she in foal?
Yeah, she's in foal to Art Major. She's had a sort of a checkered career on the breeding front. She lost her first one, and then the second one is a mare called Kiwi on Show, and she's got ability. In fact, I think she went 152 down in Wyndham one day, so she's got a good mile time behind her. But effectively, in human terms, she's a bit like an asthmatic. The temperature's got to be perfect for her to operate at full capacity. So she's had a couple of issues, but she's won 3 and got a good mile time, so she'll go to stud this year. And then we had another one with born with quite deformed legs, but we held on to him and didn't race him until until he was 4 years old. So and he ended up winning a couple here, and then he's called the Kiwi Way. He's now an Australian, has won a few over there, and then we had one running around at the moment called Kiwis Are Flying. He won one as a 3-year-old, and he'll sort of get better in time. So she's done a reasonable job to date, but she's had a bit of bad luck, and she lost her Art Major one last year, and that's why she's back in foal to Art Major. So he shattered a fetlock in the paddock. So she's had a bit of a checkered run, but the rest of the family have done quite nicely. So so we can't really grumble.
Well, it just goes to show, Hamish, that you can have all the success in the world, but it sounds like you guys have gone through a lot of bad luck too. But the good karma is coming your way.
It is. Well, as they say in this game, there's always luck and not all of it's good. But at the end of the day, I always work on the basis if you have 1 up to 10 downs in this game, then you're going all right because the up is big enough to make up for the down. So it's a game that we've put a bit into over the years, but we've certainly got a fair bit of fun back out of it as well, and that's probably part of the game. It's just fun, good people, and good days out. I always say that so the worst day at the races was probably better than the best day at work.
Well, time to welcome onto the show North Island trainer Arna Donnelly. Arna, we've got to take this chance to congratulate you on your season so far. Understand it's the best stakes-wise for you.
Yeah, so I believe. It has been a good season. Probably haven't had as many winners as last season, but racing a few at Auckland and getting a couple of winners there definitely pumps up the stakes.
You've had very good success recently with In the Shadows and more latterly Bakero, and those syndicates. There's some wonderful stories behind that and a lot of first-time owners. Oh,
definitely, yeah. With like the 2 fillies that we syndicated, one had a little hiccup and had to have an operation. That's In the Shadows. She had a bone chip and a back fetlock, and then so she's taken a little bit more time, but in hindsight it might have been a blessing, and she's come out and raced super. And we've got, I think there's about 20 people in the syndicate with her, and I think that most of them are first-time owners, and the age varies from sort of 18-year-olds up to 70, 80-year-olds, and from all over the country too. People I've never met, it's been really good.
Arna, I noticed that your Facebook page for Arna Donnelly Racing Stables is very active, so is that something that you're very aware about keeping up to date?
Yeah, a lot of people follow it, and I get a lot of good feedback and comments from people that love the photo each week with what the horses are doing and where they're off to, and it's a great way to sort of keep the communication going and lines open, so yeah, definitely.
It's also presented, I'd imagine, multiple opportunities to reach new owners that way?
I think so. I think when I started setting up these syndicates, a lot of people saw that on Facebook, and then of course you helped putting things on the radio, and just getting the word out there with social media. It's definitely a big help.
Okay, so potentially you'd recommend that for other people to uptake that opportunity if they can?
Oh, for sure. People are sort of always on Facebook and Twitter and what have you these days. So, definitely a good way to go about it.
Oh, it's a great job that you and the team are doing. And speaking of promoting yourself, Arna, the Owners' Night at Alexandra Park, which is coming up on Friday the 10th of August, there will be owners on course, and also people who are interested in ownership have been invited to come along. And you're going to be there too, because you've got some exciting opportunities coming up. Yeah,
that's right, Jess. We've definitely going to be there. And yes, we have got one definite horse, Betters Delight Filly, that's up for syndicate, and probably a couple of others that are just in the pipeline of tidying up the loose ends on those deals at the moment, and hopefully we'll have that all out and ready to roll on by August the 10th.
Oh, perfect. So it's a great opportunity for people to have a chat to you, because you've always got time to talk to anyone and talk any size budget or what they're after?
Oh, definitely, yeah. No, I've got time for anyone that wants to have a chat about it, and it's a good way. There's syndicates, like you don't have to spend a lot of money you probably don't make a lot of money, but you do have a lot of fun. Weekly or fortnightly emails and pictures of the horse, and if you sort of, you can come down the stables and see them, and come around the barn and see them as well. So it's definitely the way to go.
Okay, so that's Friday, August the 10th, if you're wanting to find out more about ownership. And just lastly, we've got to congratulate your team for having a new champion in the stable in Alicia.
Yeah, that's right. It was fantastic. She went down there probably on her first real full season of driving, and she's a great wee driver and a really good worker too, and she deserved that immensely, I thought. She drove every horse perfectly, and she did her homework and studied the form, and it couldn't have worked out better. She took all the shortcuts and she got home. So, that was a real proud moment.
And we've got to congratulate you too, Arna, for allowing Alicia to follow the opportunities, because trips like that and experiences like that are so important for young drivers, aren't they?
Oh, most definitely. Yep. They, we need more young people in the game, and it's a hard game. It's long hours and it's cold and wet, over winter for them, and their highlight is driving. And most of the young kids do love that, and you do have to let them travel and go and drive as much as they can and encourage it. So, I'm a big supporter of that.
Well, Arna, thank you so much for your time. Well done to the team for this season so far, over $200,000 in stakes, and we look forward to seeing you at Alex Park on Owners' Night.
Definitely. Thanks very much, Jess.
We're here with James Jennings, who's Director and Operations Manager at NZB. James, welcome to the Harness Half Hour. It's been a little over a month since NZB made the announcement it was setting up a standardbred sales division. I hear you've been out and about meeting with breeders in the Christchurch region, so it's great to have you on the program today to share the answers to those questions you've been asked during your visit. And firstly, James, can you tell us about the planned sales format for 2019?
Cheers, thank you very much for having me on today. I greatly appreciate it. And with reference to the sales format, the sales are going to be in largely the unchanged format, with parade days taking place ahead of the selling schedule. The sale at Karaka will be on the 17th and 18th of February, and then Christchurch on the 19th and 20th. One thing we had noticed is that the New Zealand trotters are going through a bit of a renaissance at the moment, and the trotting section at this year's yearling sales was very successful. So we're going to kick off the sales with Bang featuring the back-to-back trotting offers. On the 18th of February, of course, here at Karaka, the trotters will feature widely throughout the day. And then in Christchurch, the following day, we'll have that dedicated trotting session, and later in the afternoon. And obviously, it's our aim to highlight the best of the New Zealand trotters to the market. Paces, of course, will be sold both here at Auckland on the 18th of February and then at Christchurch on the 20th of February. I think the key difference to the format will be is that we won't be having the supplementary session attached to the Christchurch sale on the 20th of February. What we've chosen to do is move that to April and have a dedicated yearling sale section in the April sale. Now, these will be sales series eligible for the incentive race, and we think it gives a good opportunity for those yearlings that just need a bit more time and will benefit from a bit more prep, so they have the option of being presented to the market in the best possible fashion for the buyers.
James, talking about the sales series, what are NZB Standardbred's plans for the incentive races?
We've seen and spoken to a lot of people, and one thing that does resonate with us is the importance of the incentives series, and so we're very committed to running the incentive series. As you all know, we've had a huge success running our own series through the thoroughbreds with the Karaka Million, which now features two $1 million races for the 2-year-olds and the 3-year-olds. Ideally, we want to see improvement, particularly in the prize money for the incentive series, but we also want to make it simple and easy for the breeders and owners. A good start to that is that we've incorporated the vendors' contribution into the entry fee, so there it becomes just a one-off payment.
There's a lot of exciting talk, James, amongst preparers regarding the planned 2-year-old sale. Can you tell us more about that?
Oh, look, we're very excited about holding the 2-year-old sale. The history showed us that the 2-year-old ready-to-run sale format that the harness racing had previously did work well. For us, it's a format that's proven highly successful in our thoroughbred arena, and we're confident that over the next 5 to 10 years we can make the harness version of this just as successful. I think the underlying message there is that growth will not come overnight. It needs a steady build to build the integrity of the sale. But what will very much help that will be our finance arm, which will enable people to get into the pinhooking, enabling them to take horses forward to the ready-to-run sale format.
And the finance arm has been an interesting point for many to find out more about, James. Do you know what those finance rates will be?
They will be double digits, but they will start with a 1, not with a 2. Obviously, though, the particular finance rates we've yet to finalise and work on, but they're definitely going to be available, which is something that hasn't been available previously. From our owners and breeders' point of view, we won't be invoicing the entry fees until January, and we can also arrange for the payments to be deducted from the proceeds. We want people to spend the money in hand in the preparation of the horses so they can bring them forward and present them in the best possible way. But essentially we want to grow the market at every point of the sale, from weanlings to yearlings to 2-year-olds, and in doing that we will build the demand for the New Zealand bred standardbred.
You mentioned demand, James. What are your plans for building up the buying bench?
First and foremost, which a lot of people are looking at us and seeing what we do, and what we do is horses. That's the only thing we do. It's our single-minded focus. We've got a wonderful team here at New Zealand Bloodstock, and the way we go about marketing and the promoting our athletes to the various regions, we are market leaders and quite peerless in that arena. So we expect to be able to paint our standardbred division with the same brush. We've got the resources here, we know what we're doing, and we're investing in growing in the international harness racing buyers bench particularly. And to do that, you need many strings to your bow. But to highlight a few, we very much see our responsibility as growing the reputation of the New Zealand bred standardbred to a truly international stage. If you look at where the harness racing sales has been previously, there's been essentially a marketing team of none. You've now got a marketing team of 5, very dynamic, and they've got some really great, exciting plans on the cards. And primarily you can expect to see, obviously, our state-of-the-art website, big social media presence, and innovation from them will be coming in the coming months to promote our wonderful New Zealand standardbred athletes.
As mentioned, James, you recently visited Christchurch. What was the reaction from the breeders during that trip?
All I can say is we got a wonderful reception from the Christchurch and Canterbury breeders, and thank you very much to them for giving us their time. The excitement that we have, I saw being reciprocated back to us, which was great to see that positivity coming into the market. Look, from the get-go, we're offering more support than they've had for a long time, and it's been very well received. Essentially, from Kintyre to Invercargill, we're here, we're helping them to sell their horses for the best possible return. It's what we do, and we'll continue to be getting out and and visiting the breeders, particularly Southland and the North in the near future.
And with entries now open, James, for the yearling sales, is there anything breeders need to know?
We're obviously starting from scratch, so we're building our database. So we're reaching out to everyone in the harness racing industry to get in contact with us. So look, if you haven't received an entry form or you want to establish an account with us in preparation for attending the sales, please give us a call here on 09 298 0055, or you can email reception@nzb.co.nz. That's reception@nzb.co.nz. And just as a final reminder, the entries for the 2019 yearling sales do close on the 1st of August.
It's a pleasure to welcome onto the Harness Half Hour Kevin McNaught of Southern Harness. Kevin, we've spoken many times in the past around Southern Harness and the successful platform that you've built down in the south now, and it looks as though this season has been even better than you expected.
Yes, it has, Jess. We set out with the objective a couple of years ago of trying to grow the industry and make it more sustainable for everybody, and that means primarily increasing stakes. Mm-hmm. But to do that, we also had to try and provide fields that people wanted to race in, and the like racing that we've come up with, particularly with the change to the handicapping system, has given us great results. Yes, in terms of horse numbers, the number of races, and particularly our turnover, which has been quite surprising because I understand that our results are in excess of the national results. So, yeah, we're really happy.
And great to see too, Kevin, that there was always the promise of stakes to go up, but 13% increase in stakes too.
Yes, they went up last season, the 2017 season, they were up 21%, and this last season they were up 13%. Recently we had some figures done, and in the last two seasons, the stakes paid at the race meetings that make up Southern Harness have increased by $1.5 million. So that's $1.5 million, and it's gone into owners' pockets and the percentages to the trainers and the drivers. So everybody's benefiting from that.
And Kevin, the way that Southern Harness is set up, has the feedback continued to be positive from clubs, given that they're not having to worry about the administration and that whole side of things? Is it working quite well with everyone?
Yeah, what it means, Jess, is that individual club committees don't necessarily need to have too much detailed knowledge of how the industry operates. That's basically Southern Harness's role around, programming and funding and things like that. The clubs themselves then just worry about their own operations, like their sponsorships and making sure the actual day runs correctly. They're not having to people worry about programming and things like that. So, yeah, it is sort of... it's a change, but it's a positive change, and that it's people can go on the committee not having to know a lot about racing because you don't need to anymore.
That is the bonus in opening up that pool, because getting more people involved in clubs and committees, that's going to be the next big step, isn't it?
Well, everybody's saying that it is an issue, and we are seeing it down here with some clubs. But one of the strengths of working as a collective is that clubs can come to those meetings and put their issues on the table, and everybody's willing to try and help them out, because we're all in this together. I've used the term previously. It's we're a big family, and I mean that in a way that we don't agree on everything, but we sit down and we have our debate around it. But we all are on that understanding that we want to move forward together. So we've had some issues recently that we've worked our way through, and we had a great result, and we're onwards and upwards.
Yep, it certainly looks like a platform that many others can follow. And Kevin, you've got some big steps ahead of you too, moving on to the HRNZ board.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Jess. I've been involved in club administration for probably 30 odd years now, with Wario. and more recently Winton, and for a period on both committees actually at the same time. I've spent time as 3 years as president of Waireo and 2 years of president at Winton, and the last 2 years as president of Southern Harness. And it's just one of those things to step up to the board, Harness Racing Board, has been one of those things, sort of in the back of your mind that, maybe one day. And when the opportunity came up with Murray standing down, I thought, why not? Let's take the opportunity. Because I think the strength of being involved in Southern Harness is you get to understand all the idiosyncrasies of each club. And I'm going to go there, I think, with a pretty good understanding of all the club's issues in this area. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And Kevin, if anyone has any issues or they want advice from you in terms of a board level, your door's always open?
Absolutely. That's how I operate. Jess, it's been the way I have. It's just the way I am, Come and talk to me. We may not agree, but at least we'll have a reasoned conversation around it and just see where it takes us. But for goodness sake, don't raise it. If you've got an issue, raise it. You're better off putting it on the table and having a discussion about it than not dealing with it at all.
Well, you've got a great outlook on things, Kevin, and in your time at Southern Harness, you've done a remarkable job, so well done, and we look forward to following your progress with the board going forward.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. At the conference a couple of years ago when I explained to people what we were doing and why, I said, what we're doing down here, I'm not telling people that's what people should be doing in their own area, but what I am saying to people is this is what can be achieved if you all want to sit around the table and start getting on, and every area will end up with its own structure, but you've got to sit down and start talking first. And I think that's what we did, and where we've ended up is a result of that.
Well, Kevin, well done. Job well done, and good luck for the future.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it, Jess.
Well, every week we're joined by Richard Wilson, of course, harness racing bookmaker. Woody, starting off with Thursday, last Thursday night, Forbury Park, and it was a bit of a tough start to the night there.
Yes, it was for us anyway. It was all right for punters. They were latching on to the first four winners there to some degree or another. Avana Legacy, that was $7 into $6.20 in race 2. Scotland Harry started off $3 into $2.80 in race 4. And there was even an outsider there, Shindell. That had support there. Was quite a big loser for us. $43 it opened into 31. The best bet of the night there, $250 on Shindell at 43, and there was another 200 at the 31. So yeah, they were finding them all over the place there early on. But luckily for us, there was a couple of big bets went missing there. In the latter part of the card there was a stack of bets on London Delight Jess at the $1.50, very solid there, including a $4,000 bet. Kiwi Crusher, $1.90, never moved off that price. There's a lot of bets on that. Debnita Rose at $2.50, crashed into $1.95, and the other one in the last, Pete's Dash, opened at $6.50, was into 4, and including multis, the liability on Pete's Dash was getting close to $50,000. So we were quite happy to see that one not figure in the finish in the last. And there was also, early on, there was a $6,000 bet on Wayward Rock in the first, but Metaboy being the second favourite and the winner, that still wasn't very good for us.
Gee, it sounds like a rough night at the office with plenty going on at Forbury. And Friday night, starting off with Auckland, and it was a turnaround there in fortunes, a tough night for punters. That's
right, Jess. Yeah, it was chalk and cheese, really. The only favourite to win at Auckland was Master of Escape. There was almost $12,000 in total on him in the win book, $3.50 in slightly to $3.40. So the punters sort of cleaned up there. But then for the rest of the card, they had some problems. The best backed horse on the night was Sunday Sun. There was almost $20,000 in total on him, including a $5,000 bet at the $1.95. There were $2,000 and $4,000 bets on Way and Ride Yourself. I always look at that name and get confused before I even start, but that was $2 in the first race. And there was $13,000 in total on Mo Casino at $2 into $1.90 in race 6. So there was some big goes on horses that didn't deliver, thankfully for us.
Yeah, and over to Addington Raceway, and the second and third favourites, so value bets pretty much for the night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they won 8 of the 10 races, so yeah, they were really cleaning up there, and the favourites missed out completely. All Nuts and Bolts was $12 out to 14, and Cheezel 23 out to 41 won the other 2 races. So yeah, the favourites went missing there, but there was some decent wins coming via $1,000 bets on Valley Star at $5.50, and also $1,000 on Flying Over at $5.50. And there was also a $600 bet on Idle Moose at $6, and that closed closer to $4. So some good shopping there. There was some big bets that went missing there. $5,500 on Majestic Moment at $1.70, $2,500 on Red Moon Rising at $2.60, and there was a $2,000 bet Karmic Way at $2.20.
Okay, and over to Rangiora on Sunday, and well, punters turn things around there.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, certainly in the early races. Anyway, Jess. Kingmaker, wow, we're heavily backed 2-year-old facing up against older horses on debut. Didn't really matter. $2.90, closed at $2.10. There was close to $25,000 in total on him in the win book, Jess. $4,400 at $2.40, the largest of over 350 bets on him. And the other big shortener came a couple of races later, Max Marita, $2 into $1.65, and there was close to $30,000 on her. So $8,000 at $1.75, $2,000 at $1.65, and there was 3 $1,000 bets early on at $1.90. So those 2 horses did a lot of damage, but we got a bit of money back there. $5,000 on Born to be a Star at $2.10, and in the last $5,000 Trailer Park Girl at $1.80. Got us a little bit back.
A remarkable multi that you've found for us this week, and it does include greyhounds again, funnily enough.
Yeah, this is the beauty actually, Jess. All on the special sort of options here. $5 on Friday night. Started off with the Stripe Rug at the Addington Greyhounds, $1.60. Went on to the Blue Rug at Wanganui, $7.50. Then Todd Mitchell at Auckland in the Drivers' Challenge, $15 for Todd. And finished off with Blair Orange at $4.20 in the Addington Drivers' Challenge. So they turned the $5 into $3,780.
Gee, that's better than buying a lotto ticket by the look.
Yeah, well, it's not bad, is it? And all 4 meetings, every race you've got an interest in, really, hoping your driver or your rug comes in. So, yeah, very good bet, that one.
New Zealand Cup market, that's still out and available?
Yes, it is. There's been a couple of little changes over the week, Jess. Not as much action as the first week. Jack's Legend, from memory, is a bit of a shortener. It got out to $11, I think is now $9.50. But yeah, definitely still open those, a win in place, and we're hoping in the next week or 2, maybe even 3, who knows how long it'll take, but hoping to get the Dominion and maybe even the Free for All open as well.
And to finish up on the show this week, we'll look at what is coming up in the harness racing world. Thursday night, no meetings this Thursday, in a unique turn of events there, but no racing on Thursday night. Friday night, we see a double header with Addington and Alexandra Park featuring with their respective meetings. And on Sunday, North Otago harness racing in Oamaru. Club news, keep an eye out every Wednesday afternoon on the HRNZ website for the very latest in club news, including the very latest on this year's Kiwi Punter Championship. And in news from HRNZ, our Owners Night is soon to be underway. Have you ever wanted to be an owner? Then this is your chance to find out more. On Friday, the 10th of August at Alexandra Park, all owners are encouraged to attend and also bring along friends who are interested in finding out more about ownership. There'll be a beverage on arrival and finger food available, along with some dining options available too, and more news on that will follow on the HRNZ website this week. Well, that's it for this week's Harness Half Hour. Thanks to HRNZ Marketing. Check out the HRNZ website and social media platforms each Tuesday for the very latest episodes.